evening and welcome to Night Colors Bigfoot Radio. You're here with your hostess, Lauren Smith, and tonight we're going to be chatting with Jerimiah Fountain. He is a New York Bigfoot researcher and also a fellow podcast host. Before we get into it, I would like to ask that you show some love for the hardworking NCBR team by hitting that thumbs up on whatever platform you're using to listen to the show. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any new content that I put out every week. Also, you guys can go to nightcolorsproductions.com to see everything I'm working on and all the ways to enjoy the content that I put out. I have a lot of great things coming every single week, and you don't want to miss it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it with Jerimiah. And how are you doing tonight, Jerimiah?
Good, Lauren. How are you? Finally, pleasure.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have you on tonight.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to be on. I feel good tonight, ready to rock and roll.
I'm glad to hear that. I am. So I read your bio, and it's so rare for me to find someone who is just as busy as I am. Your bio, you are part of a lot of different projects.
Yes, and we've got more coming, which is the scary part. But at the same time, you know how it is. It's a passion and more like an obsession.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a good way. In a good way, you know. And it just something about a cat. It just gets you, you know.
Yeah, it's the big. I always say it's the Bigfoot curse, but I feel like the Bigfoot curse is applied to so many different things. But that's one of them. It's the more that you learn about Bigfoot, the more you don't know about Bigfoot.
That's right. 20 more questions pop up.
Pretty much. All right. Can everybody hear me? Because I'm getting people saying that they can't hear me, which, it's par for the course. So we'll see if they can hear me here in a second. I turned my volume up and yours down.
Okay.
I don't know.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, they said I'm quieter than you.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you want me to just go into my bio and how I got started in this crazy field we all love so much, or what?
Yeah. So basically, I was just going to ask, what got you started on this topic?
Well, so we have I come from a logging family. With I have a fully blooded. Well, she's passed now. She was a fully blooded Mohawk. So I grew up hearing about all this stuff, and it captivated me. It really did. But and I got to hear from both sides. My grandfather, he worked in the camps, the logging camps in the Adirondacks, and would come back with stories as well. Now, which captivated me just as much, obviously. Now, it wasn't, I was about 7, and my mother, you remember a book called The Mysteries of the Unexplained, The Mysteries of the 21st Century?
Yeah.
I'm looking through that, and, Mom, what's that? What's that? What's that, Mom? What's that? What's that? And I finally got to a very special, very attractive woman named Patty. And so
is she though? Is
she right? But from that point on, when I took I was hooked.
Yeah.
That's all it took. Hook, line, sinker, bang.
Yeah. So it was Patty that did it for you.
I don't know if it was so much Patty, but it was the
creature,
the phenomenon,
Right.
And I knew from that first from looking at her, that's a real creature, for lack of better terms,
Yeah.
That's real, even at 7 years old. Human beings just, they don't have that. We don't walk like that, and the more I got into it, I realized, these things kept getting more real and more real and more real and more real. And I didn't have we have some properties that we log on. One in particular, the one I actually happen to live on, it's a 250 acre piece, and we've had activity here for 40 years. It's been it could probably longer than that. It's been what's up, Gary? It's been a multi-generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because my whole life, I spent my whole life down there, and I never noticed anything out of the ordinary. But then again, I was a kid,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You don't notice things like that when you're a kid. It doesn't occur to you to notice things out of the ordinary that shouldn't be there.
right, exactly, and until I was 20. It was muzzleloader season, and do you want me to tell the story?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah. That's why we're here.
All right. It was muzzleloader season, and it was time to get out of the stand, and something felt odd. Not gonna lie, something so kind of weird, and this is before we lived on the property. This is back in 2000, so you're talking 20 years back.
Yeah.
20, God, 21 years back now. God, I'm getting old.
I feel that.
Oh my God. So I walk down. I take the trail to hit the logging trail to walk down to my truck, and it really, in all reality, isn't that far of a walk. Okay, maybe 1.5 miles at most. It's hard for me to judge different distances because I have a brain injury from kickboxing, so it's kind of tough sometimes to remember that far back and distances and whatnot. So I apologize for that. So my father had an old log skidder, and right now we're maybe quarter mile from the truck, if not maybe a little more. And something stopped me dead in my boots, and I see these amber eyes peeking around the corner of the backside of the skidder. And I grew up in the woods as a hunter, pretty good tracker. And I had no idea. I had never seen eyes that round, that color before. And thinking to myself, what is it? What can that be? What is it? And then all of a sudden they're gone again. Now, it kind of stopped me in my tracks for a second. Again, I'm thinking to myself, what was that? Even though in the back of my head I may have had a clue, without really realizing it, but I don't know. Anyway, I start walking a little bit closer, and this time sticks its whole chest around with what would have been its left arm. Okay. And wrapped and totally gave me the total look and stared at me for a few seconds. And then I'll remember this to the day I die, and you can go back on every show I've ever done and you'll hear the same thing. I've never, the athleticism is just incredible. And this was a juvenile. Okay. Right. So, and people have always asked me, what did it weigh? How big was it? And I'll tell them it was about 5 foot, 200 pounds, and that's, I'm a ex-fighter. I'm good at judging weights, and I would say it was about $180 to 200. And people say, well, that's not that big. Well, I got news.
Yeah.
That's put together.
Yeah.
That's very, 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 very put together.
Yeah, that's musculature,
Yes, and that perfect way to put it, because it was jacked. And now there's a log. Now as I'm standing there frozen, okay, there's a log running this way. Okay, at this point, I have my whole body turned towards the skidder. All right, and there's a log near the skidder, and it's running this way. all of a sudden, now let's think about something for a second. This skidder, let's just say for argument's sake, it was 15, maybe 15 feet long. Okay. Now, when I saw this target, we call it target species. It could have been, it was at the beginning, the front end of the skidder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which even at that point, if it would have taken a leap to that log, I'm going to say an easy 12 to 15 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when it hit that log, the front half of the foot, okay, it didn't squat to jump. It didn't even wave its arms to jump. It didn't set itself to jump.
Yeah.
It propelled. When it jumped, it hit that log, it propelled the front half of its feet. Okay, the ball of its foot.
Mm-hmm.
It propelled itself off that log. Whang. Boom. And then that's when it got to the second tree, and which was another good 12 to 15.
That's
Now,
insane.
yeah, and here I am at this point, I'm thinking someone's orangutan get loose or something. And this is the weird part about it. And people have asked me this over and over for years. Every other encounter I've ever had, I've been able to see eyes. Okay, actual, eyes. This thing's face was completely covered in hair. I could see the eye shine still. Okay, this time at this point I had it lit up with my headlamp. Now, this probably was, at the time, it seemed like a smart idea, but at the time, it was probably very stupid at that. So, do what I say, not what I do. So, because I got a feeling Mama wasn't too far away.
Yeah.
Um,
or just others.
Exactly. So, I'm about 40 feet away from this thing, and I'm thinking, well, I have my muzzle loader. I mean, and here I am. I'm not thinking. I want to do it. I was weirded out, but I didn't have that primal fear, which I did in the next one, which I will get into.
Yeah, that I need to not be here right now.
Yes, yeah.
Get the heck out of this area. Yeah.
And that's a doozy. Anyway, so I just is I couldn't tell. It's a juvenile. I can't tell, So it's sitting there and just giving me the old Bigfoot, back and forth. And soon, Lauren, I kid you not, I no more than got that off my shoulder. Okay. And just as I'm about to raise up, bang, behind the tree. And it was gone. Now, tell me they don't know what weapons are?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
And my theory, people say, how do they disappear that quick in front of your eyes? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is it did. I have theories. One of which I think they do quite a bit. They'll, pick a spot, like they did behind that tree, and they know the woods so well. It was able to, they're able to keep in a straight line, to where you can't see them. I have other theories as well,
I mean, I've witnessed that before, that exact same thing you're talking about, to where we watched one go behind a tree. Well, I didn't watch it, but the person with me watched it go behind the tree, and we sat there. We turned our canoes and we were watching that tree, waiting. We had it pinned down, and it never came out because it went straight back out of our line of sight, and the tree blocked the sight.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I have a theory. I really think people need to look up more as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we don't look up near enough as humans.
No. We definitely need to look out more. That's for sure. So yeah, so here I am, and that was my first face to face, and it was I can give you a quick description. Like I said, the whole face covered in hair. This long hair, but it wasn't real. You'd figure, we hear about a lot of matted hair, stuff like that.
Right.
I didn't see that on this little guy. I shouldn't say little; he's bigger than I was.
Yeah.
But
what gets me is the way that it moved. I think about the entire encounter you just told me, and all that I'm hung up on is how it moved and how powerful it was. And to me, it's just a preternatural. That's all that you can use to describe it. Just
yeah.
the way that they move, because it's almost like they have so much power packed in their muscles because of the sheer amount of muscle mass they have. They have so much power. They can just, I mean, can you imagine one just coming up and like flicking you on the back of the head? It's like they could take your head off, not
Yeah,
really, but I mean, they
right.
have enough power that they can just, I mean, because we have to like squat and then jump. And these things could just like jump from full standing position.
It's unbelievable that, and then the next one is gonna blow your mind.
Oh man, I'm ready.
It was back. This was in 2000. What year is this? It's in 2007. 2007. This is rifle season. Okay, and I wasn't even going down. I really don't. Unless I'm hunting, I really don't carry a long gun in the woods. I'll carry a side piece, and that's more for other predators. Especially now. Especially now that I've, this group here we've gotten to know each other. I'm not saying we sit around the fire and sing kumbaya together, but we have a relationship, of some sort.
There's trust.
What's that?
I said there's trust.
there is, and I think this is when I want it. Now I'm sitting. I had decided, like I said, I want to fix my tree stand, okay, because there's some work that needed to be done on it. I finished it up a little early, and I said, why not sit up there for a little bit? And I wasn't there more than a few minutes, and I heard, this god awful. It was a yell and a scream combined, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. A holler. Yeah. But it was like just unreal.
Giving it hell. That's what I call it.
It was giving it
hell.
It was giving it hell. Yeah. Without a doubt. I said, okay. I said, it's probably time for me to skedaddle on out of here. And I had my, I was carrying a pretty big rifle. I had my 300 Winchester Magnum on me. And, there's now here, I'll go back to this later, but there's a beautiful artesian spring. It bubbles all year round. It's gorgeous. And you can drink. I drink out of it, all summer. And, this is also before we moved down the property. We didn't move down here till 2016. We moved away for a while, did some other stuff. But anyway, so I'm making the loop around. I got to come around make my way around the pond, the spring, to get to the split, to get to the logging road. Okay. And I look, and I'm about 35 feet away, and I got my muck's a little bit in the water at this point. And I'm like, oh my God, that tree wasn't there before. How'd it happen to be there now? And thinking to myself, like, okay. And all of a sudden the tree turns her hips and she looks at me. And at that point, I will admit I lost control of some functions.
Thank you for being honest. I mean, I'm always.
I will
I think
always be
people leave
honest.
that out. Yeah, I think people leave that out, but yeah. Thank you for being honest
I
because I
will
think that
always be
happens a lot.
honest. Uh, anyway, so yeah, she's looking at me, I'm looking at her, and she's totally different looking than that juvenile. Okay. I can very, very, but she did. Okay. Start with the head, not a very, I wouldn't say round, but it wasn't coned either. Kind of in between a little bit.
Okay.
Very, when I tell you the mouth was ear to ear, that's an exaggeration. Okay.
Yeah.
I just kind of use that as that because at the time that's what I was seeing. You know,
Mhm.
it everything gets blown out of proportion when you're in a situation like that. You know, it looked like it could have opened its like a pet dispenser and bit my head off. You know, I mean
Yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
unreal it was, and you know, so the weirdest thing happened. She looked at me and she looked, and I said, "Oh my God, she's looking at the barrel of the rifle on my shoulder." And it had a muzzle brake, so it had that extension on it, so she could see it, and she knew what it was. She knew what it was, and by this time, you know, it was dusk. We could still see each other, but it was getting there.
Yeah.
And the look she gave me, and I got to give credit to one of my partners, Sean Wilson, on this one. He gave me. You ever seen the movie Tombstone?
Mhm.
You know where he says you're gonna skin that smoke wagon or stand there and bleed?
Mhm.
It's pretty
That's the
much
look.
what she said. You're gonna skin it or just stand there, you know,
Yeah.
but I guarantee I'll get to you first. But she also gave me a look like, you don't give me any issues, I'm not gonna give you any issues.
Yeah.
We'll go our separate ways.
And she was waiting on you to make a move.
And she was making I think so. I
Yeah.
think she was waiting on me, and there was no way I was making it. You know,
Again,
no
very honest.
way, no
Yeah.
way. Even if I hadn't been in shock and I had been able to get that rifle off my shoulder,
Mhm.
she'd have been to me.
So, I mean, so you see this thing, you realize it's not a tree, you realize what it is,
Hmm?
and just let me get this right. It never even occurred to you that you had the gun until you realized she was looking at it.
Oh, I knew I had it.
So okay, so you weren't. I mean, but your first reaction, I guess I'm asking, wasn't like I'm gonna shoot her or
No,
I
no,
need this gun
not a
for self defense. It
not a
was
chance.
just
I didn't know what to do in that situation with that weapon. I
yeah.
knew with her seeing it, I knew she was going to see it, and I knew
Mhm.
it was going to go one of two ways.
Yeah.
And that was kind of that was a very weird feeling. Very weird feeling. And she was a big girl.
Yeah.
She was a big girl.
So I just wanted to ask,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
how did you know it was a female? I mean, like, did she
Mhm.
look like she Squatch or
Oh,
was
jeez.
she it's okay.
She I'm sorry about that.
It's
Um
okay.
she she had breasts.
Okay.
Not like a not like a patty, but they were there.
Mhm.
Um, and she was built different than the males
Mm,
I've seen.
yeah.
You know, not as not as
Yeah. More compact.
more. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
but I tell you what, the most impressive part about her was not her shoulders were wide, but the most
Yeah.
impressive part about her was front,
Yeah.
like he said, front to back,
Yeah.
chest to back,
Yeah.
and I'd have to say 3 feet.
Yeah. That's pretty big.
It's massive.
Pretty big. I asked that because I had someone else on who had a female Squatch
Yeah.
sighting.
Mhm.
And I had to ask, like, and he's in the chat, he said, I knew that question was coming because I'm so curious to know, how the genders differentiate between them,
Yes.
because you only hear usually of generic Bigfoot sightings and you don't know, which is which. But sometimes you do get to see things that
Yeah.
show you, but I was more interested in her body mass and her body,
Okay.
shape and everything.
That's
So, but
that's
yeah,
not a problem.
that's
The most impressive part, and a lot of people have said this, and I'm going to back it up. The most impressive part about her were her hips and her buttocks.
really, so
Yes.
she squatched basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very, very, very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
And here's the deal: they tend to get very, very large up here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she was very clean as well, just like that
Really.
juvenile years prior. She, maybe they groom. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't claim to be an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with what they run through. It's like the smell. I never once experienced a smell.
Well, you said she was right next to the spring, pretty much. So, I mean,
That's pretty much all I could.
the only,
Right. Maybe
yeah.
she did, and it was over. The spring was overwhelming it. I don't know. But here's the deal. She when she saw that, like I said, she saw the rifle, and we made kind of. It was kind of cool at that point. Not cool because I'm still scared out of my mind. Um, you know, she gave me that look. You go one way, I go the other, and we're not going to have any problems ever. We're not going to have any issues. You're not going to have any problems with. I'm not saying we're talking to each other or anything, but
Right. But that's just from her body language and
yes,
everything. Right. Yeah.
exactly. Um, and then that was it. She turned and she took a leap out of the water.
I just had to
Yeah,
elaborate that.
yeah, Patrick. I don't know, man. I don't know either. Um, but
He's so funny.
yeah,
So she
Patrick.
leaped. She said she
She
turned.
leaped out of the water and then she went 63 feet in 3 leaps. And that I know for a fact because I did go back down the next day with a buddy, and we could tell where she'd scuffed. They weren't,
Yeah.
they weren't prints, but they were scuff marks, and I'm guessing they were hers because they were pretty big.
Right.
But I mean,
So,
come on now, you talking about and weight wise, as far as height, it's hard for me to guess a height because, as I told others before, um, she's in the water, okay, and
mhm.
the water went up to a little bit below her knee line,
Mhm.
okay, and which God, I would say it's so hard to say now. I maybe 8 inches. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure
It's
the water fluctuates as
it's
well, but
damn
right.
brain injury, and it bugs me sometimes.
It's still, I mean, so it was up
It's
to her
like
knee.
yeah. So give or take, yeah. And so height wise, from what I saw from the water up, she was all 7 feet,
This big old
and
girl.
she was massive, and I would have to say at
Mhm.
least I would say 600 pounds,
That's crazy.
if
So
not a little bit more.
her thighs, I'm guessing her thighs and legs were just as,
That took up most of it.
yeah.
Yeah, that took up
That's
most of the weight. But they did, I mean, just to still move that gracefully and that.
with that much mass.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
They have to be absolutely just stacked, you know.
It's
Um,
just unreal.
We did have a question from the chat.
Yes.
There we go. When you, besides losing control of certain functions for a little bit, did you have anything like that happen?
I
Any
can get
mood
back
change, ringing in the ears, or at a later time?
at a later time. I can get back to that
Okay. Yeah.
if that's cool. That'll
Okay.
answer.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine.
That'll
Yeah.
answer that question for you.
Yes. Yes.
So at this point, I needed answers. I've been, pretty much around this my whole life, but I needed serious answers. So I started research on my own, meeting people, got involved in the community, and God, I can't believe it's been this long. But
I feel that way
crazy.
all the time.
Oh my God. But yeah, it's been a ride. It really has. So, my married. I've been, like I told you, I've been married to my wife 6 years now, and she's a cryptid and paranormal investigator, and we've kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Y'all balance each other out.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all have
Yeah,
have very well-rounded research. She's paranormal, you're Bigfoot or cryptid, and
that's
then
right.
you teach each other about each other's subjects and round each other. I think that's awesome.
I do too, because I think when we, not to get off the topic, I think, man, I'm going to steal this from Gary. Sorry, Gary, but he mentioned it the other night. When we do find out, if we do, what these things are, I don't think nature's laws are going to allow it to be something way over here or something way over there. I think it's going to be something in the middle, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, I think that as researchers, you need to use every tool in the toolbox, or at least
absolutely
have every tool in the toolbox ready to be used. And the thing that I always say is, so I'm a true crime fanatic, and I watch a lot of whodunits.
Sure.
And so a lot of times you hear that the cops get tunnel vision because they're focused on this suspect. This suspect did it, and so they're so focused that they lose track of who actually did it. And so, we can get back to Bigfoot, but I think that being a good researcher or investigator is using every tool in your box.
It's our responsibility.
Having an open mind.
Yes, it is.
I have a few questions about that encounter.
Sure.
If you had to do it all over again, would you have walked up closer?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No, she told me that was my limit.
And then I have another one from one of my moderators. Stephen would like to know, what color was she?
She was auburnish.
Okay. So is that kind of what the foliage is like in that area?
Yes.
Okay.
That time of year. Yeah, especially. Okay. Auburnish red.
We were talking about how she didn't have a smell. I'm sure she was not thinking the same thing about you.
Oh, she could smell me without doubt.
Oh my gosh. It's all right. At least you were honest. I think
try to be,
that lends to the credibility of the story, honestly, that you were very honest about that.
Well, not only that, but my body odor, we smell different. Yeah. I'm sure they can smell us coming a mile away.
Yeah, absolutely. Fabric softener, shampoo, all of that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you then went to the Bigfoot community and started trying to learn more about this topic.
Yes. And this is after I went to my truck and sat there for a while and just kind of, what just happened. I mean,
right.
So yeah, I got into the community, hooked up with some, a pretty big name gentleman. I'm not going to use his name on the radio. I ran his group for quite a long time. Finally, I felt like it was time to get out on my own. So, it's been couple of years now. I hooked up with Gary and another guy by the name of Israel, Travis Bowen. A bunch of us, we have our own we call it the Bigfoot Brethren, the band of Bigfoot Brethren.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of our Nate Rudd,
Yeah.
and all those guys. You guys, so we've kind of combined our three groups, and we've got a lot of, like you said, we've got a lot of projects
Yeah.
going right
That
now.
sounds like a lot of experience between all of you.
That's
And
what I like. Yep.
yeah, a lot of different mindsets as well.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We to be honest, yeah, we pretty much most of the time we see eye to eye on most of it, but
Mhm.
we do agree to disagree.
Right. Yeah.
Put it that way. We've had some
Again, that makes you
disagree.
a good researcher, you
Absolutely.
know?
And it makes you an adult too.
Yeah, that too, it makes you human.
Yeah,
Um,
it makes you
yeah,
human.
you have to you have to, like I said, use every tool in your toolbox. Have an
Yeah,
open mind.
exactly. So
So you started going on expeditions?
yes, I had a good friend in Maine, um, and went up there, and this is going to be a cool story, but I'm not going to be able to tell the whole thing for different reasons,
Okay.
unfortunately. But I'm going to give you most of it.
Okay. All right, I'll accept it.
Okay. Uh, anyway, he's got a similar situation I do, or he did anyway. Um, anyway, yeah, he similar situation, and we decided to split up and walk the property, and you've been finding these bones, okay, that have been gnawed on,
Yes.
okay, and they look like they were big, giant human slash whatever mixed in with it
Mhm.
teeth, okay, and I set my shotgun down to because there's moose in the area. I didn't want to upset cow moose, with the calf charging me. That's
Right.
all I needed. Anyway, so I set it down and I had to do something real quick. So I looked down and there's a bone, and I said, "You got to be kidding me!" And I could see right from where I was standing that yes, rodent had gotten to it. Okay,
Mhm.
go get that right out of the way right now. Rodents had gotten to it.
Yeah.
And everyone that's seen this picture, and I'll send it to you after, Hon, so you can
Yeah,
take
I
it.
have it in the slideshow actually.
Oh, you
This
do? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's
yeah. I
circulating.
don't mind. Yeah, and
Okay.
that's one I don't mind showing. I called the gentleman I used to, do research with, and he said, "Well, we need to make a phone call," and it was to a certain anthropologist that we knew. And he said, "I tell you what," he's like, "I'm overloaded here with bones. If you guys knew how many bones I was swimming in this lab, you wouldn't send it either.
Mhm.
Send me a picture of it and let me at least look at the picture from different angles."
Mhm.
And it wasn't a day later. He emailed me back. He said, "Jeremiah, you have to send me that bone immediately. You have something.
Wow.
You have
Okay.
something." And I couldn't believe it. I did kind of one of those whoopity haws, and uh,
Clicked your heels together.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the only thing he could compare it to would be, and this is just an example, would be impressions from bones that he has found over the years, that had been fed on by Neanderthals. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Other mixed with maybe a giant, some sort of large human being, and the other being an ape. Just a mix of the three. I'm not saying that's what it was.
Right.
And neither is he.
Right.
He's
That
just
was
saying
just his findings.
exactly. But something happened to the bone, and that as far as I can go with that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I just uploaded a slideshow on my
No,
Instagram and Facebook, so you guys can go look at that slideshow, and the bone is on there, as well as some other pictures that Jeremiah sent me of evidence that he's found over the years. So You can go to those locations to see that. 'Cause some people are asking in the chat. I think we had a question back here. Hold on. So, okay, so you in the pictures, I know that you did do like you put a measuring tape against it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to ask, so whenever you go on your expeditions,
Yes.
what are some of the things that you take with you, and more specifically, like what's something that you cannot research without?
Maybe honest with you.
Yeah.
And that's for, like I told you, it's not for the Sasquatches.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and to be honest with you, a knife. You got to have a knife. A good knife. A good knife is a great tool. You can use it for anything. Tape measure. I can't stress the importance of a tape measure because yeah, I just can't. You see these boots next to the prints. Well,
right.
Okay, and something we have a forensic gentleman that works for a certain agency that works with us on the other
Right. Oh,
show,
yes. Yes.
on the Skookum session. And he's chewed me out once or twice about this. He's like he said, don't just take a picture, but don't just take an over the top picture. Get me the whole area.
Right.
Get me the whole area. Hold it above your head. Look at it. Take a picture as if you were a Sasquatch.
Right.
Get the whole area.
That's excellent advice.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
And as far as tools, just survival stuff, paracord, first aid kit, of course. Depending how far I'm going, I mean, you gotta have GPS. I bring a GPS no matter where I'm going. Right. If you're gonna be way off in the Sierras somewhere, I'd recommend a sat phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, even though I have this situation going on here, I've got 3 other great areas around here that are just awesome.
That's what I was going to ask was, what is your favorite area to research? Because you have been to so many other places.
Yes.
And so I was going to ask, what has been your favorite place to research?
North Carolina.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we lived down there for about 2 years, and we found an awesome spot. And we had a nice visual down there, face to face down there as well. I experienced. Let me just say something about North Carolina before I go on. It changed my views on a lot of things. Things I would have laughed at 10 years ago. Not anymore.
There's things that are in North Carolina that I hear that are in North Carolina that I have been asked a lot to feature on this show.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm saying even my beliefs up here, that helps. That affected, what I believe up here too. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, and I'm sure I'll catch flack. But we were always taught, you got to shine a light in their eyes to get eye shine back. No.
I've heard of a lot of cases of bioluminescence or something.
Yes.
Like that they have their own light source. Where about in North Carolina was it? You don't have to.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Right on the eastern end.
Eastern end. Okay, I have a lot of people asking. They're very excited about that.
Right in the eastern end. Where I'm gonna put it this way: it was very close to where that little boy disappeared.
Oh, okay. The one that was found by or was saved by the bear.
The bear in hibernation.
Yeah, yeah,
Bear in hibernation.
yeah, that.
That one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very close. Very close.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, and I had another question. James Matson would like to know. Jeremiah said he's from New York. Are the Bigfoot different there compared to the South? So
Absolutely.
and I can add to that, in all the places you've researched, were the Bigfoot different in each place?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They're down south. I can tell you this much. Stockier. They're shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Big male. In my experience,
Yeah.
You're gonna hit 8 feet. Maybe. Up here, my wife had an encounter with the alpha on our property, and he goes about 10, the less than 10, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're built different. They're built different. The ones in North Carolina almost look like they had a beer belly, but it wasn't beer. You tell beer belly, it was solid muscle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I only got a profile view of that one as it was walking up the hill. I had some new researchers with me, and they started to freak out.
Oh, well.
Jeremiah, what is that? And I said, calm down. Worst thing you can do is do this. Calm down. And he didn't pay us any mind. And, he was gray in color and just kept walking. It was under an old train, they're not saying anymore, but he went up the hill and went across, back down on the other side of the bayou.
Do you think, I mean, you said he was gray. Do you think he was an older male, or he was just
I don't.
color?
I just think that, I know it's a big debate in the field, and I think that's a color issue.
Okay.
I think as they get older, they're going to get, grayish, but I think there are gray ones, gray ones out there. Sure.
I know that my mother has had a sighting of but she felt like he was older.
Okay.
But that was in East Texas, so.
Oh.
Joni Mikulski, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. She wanted to know, did you ever research the Chest Ridge area of Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, near Derry and Latrobe, Pennsylvania?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever researched in Pennsylvania?
I have researched on the New York PA line.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an ongoing thing. So I wish I could get more into it, but
it's okay.
at this moment I can't. But I will tell you this: weirdest things happen. We'll go to bed in the tent, and we'll find these structures all during the day. Okay, by the time we hit the rack, they'll be gone. We'll get out of the tent the next morning. They'll be put up somewhere else.
Really?
Yeah.
It's either squatchy or creepy. I can't.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah. Because do you guys hear anything to suggest that that's happening, or is it complete?
No, it's vocalizations. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with creepy.
Yeah, creepy works. Creepy.
Just because anytime I think of something happening in the woods, I think of Blair Witch, and I can't help it, even though it's not even squatchy. That's what I think of.
Oh God, what a disturbing movie! Oof.
Yeah.
I remember when that came out.
Okay, so what is the best evidence that you've come across to date besides the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Best evidence. My best personal evidence.
Best evidence you've come across to date.
I would have to say that bone.
Okay.
Because I know if the procedure would have been finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if an anthropologist, a 30-year anthropologist that's, got 2 PhDs takes a look at it, on a tablet, and he says, "Oh my God, you got to get that here immediately." I'm going to take it that he thinks something's, and even to me, it looked in the middle, and there was actually sticks where stuff had been pushed out, like the marrow, or and it's very incredible. And some other great evidence I've come across. There was 3 deer found. I got the gentleman on the farm called me, okay, and he said, "You have to come take a look at this." And this was in an 8-month period, and 16 feet up in the tree, it was rotted pretty good, but it had to, in prior months, it was a buck. It was a big buck. I'd say at least 150 pounds. And 2 times before that, it happened 2 more times, and this is all in 8 months, 3 times in an 8-month period. Now, we did contact a big cat expert at a university, and we said, could a cougar have pulled this off? And he said, it's very, very unlikely.
Okay, that was
They are not built like a jaguar. They are not built like a leopard. And aside from that, 16 feet, I mean, with no limbs to pound off, even for a shepherd, even for a jaguar or a leopard, So he didn't seem to think so. And
I've actually heard of that a lot. Of that deer, and it seems like everyone can always come up with some kind of reason as to why that happened, but when you start investigating it, none of those reasons pan out.
No,
The snowdrift reasoning, stuff like that.
No, and this hadn't snowed yet. There was no storms. The ribs were broken systematically. I mean, legs snapped off. I mean, like a clean break.
Yeah.
In 3 times in an 8-month period.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah.
Either y'all got Bigfoot or y'all got a really big bird that I don't want any part of.
And I don't blame you.
Okay, so you've been researching for a long time.
Yes.
You've been doing this for a long time.
Yes, I have.
How has your mindset changed over the years? And what are significant developments or discoveries that changed your views or experiences in North Carolina?
Okay. We talking other cryptids, or are we still sticking to Bigfoot here?
I mean, start with Bigfoot. How has your mindset changed over the years? Because I know mine has.
Yes, it has.
As we've discovered new things, as we've
Yes.
come across new technologies, and just different experiences I've had and witness encounters that have come out.
It's yeah.
So start with Bigfoot, but then I'd love to go.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put it. I got a good way to put it for you. Okay. I've had about. I started in what I call the monkey camp. Okay, and I don't mean that insulting towards anyone out there. That's what they call it. That you believe it's a unknown primate, which is cool. I don't discredit anyone's theory at all. Okay, none of us are experts, but every time, and that's changed for me about 6 times. Every time I feel like I can put together pieces, think I have that theory down, something happens to toss it right out the window.
Every time.
Every time.
Every single time. I feel that.
Every time.
You never have a handle on it.
Never.
Ever.
Yeah. Never. No. And it's very bizarre. So my next kind of so right now, I'll skip to the end real quick and then go through a couple more I've went through. Right now, I'm at the stage where I'm just trying to put the evidence together. I think, like you said earlier, Lauren, it's our job as researchers to, I interviewed Toe Johnson, and he brought up a great question, or he brought up a great statement. What if we're asking the wrong question?
Mm-hmm.
What if we're asking, what should the evidence be?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense to everybody, what is the evidence? Could we be mixing up more than one cryptid, more than one entity,
Yeah.
and getting this evidence mixed up? That's a good question.
Right. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
And he just about took me out of my seat when he mentioned, the I found a handprint on a rail in North Carolina. I may have put it in the slide,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a hand about 3 times the size of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And Toby, I hope you don't mind I mention this, but he is the first person that's ever mentioned that. And I just flew out of my seat. I said, "Thank you so much for making me think I'm not great, for not making me think I'm sane again, because this has been bugging me. What were these white handprints with white residue?
Right.
If in 5 feet of water moccasin infested water,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you don't have it, I'll send it to you. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't think I have
Um,
that.
and now I noticed on the windows I'm getting them as well. So,
Really?
and it seems like ever since, I know this is gonna sound weird, but ever since we talked about it on the show that night, that's when
Yeah.
and I'll send you
Do
some
you
of
think
those too.
they had always been doing it, but you just now noticed it?
But here we have one in North Carolina, maybe, and then here in New York State.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
I had no explanation for that whatsoever.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, you gotta see I'll definitely send them to you.
Yeah, I appreciate
You gotta see them. It's just phenomenal. Um,
So it sounds like you've had your mind opened up a little bit
I
since you
have,
started. Yeah.
I have. I always, when people remember back in the day, you had the woo, and then you had the flesh and
Yeah.
blood.
Well,
Why?
that's still a thing, but
It,
it's.
it, it is, and I just try to ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we all just come together, and which it's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Not going to
But
happen.
like I
But
said, I think being a good researcher, you need to use all the tools in your toolbox.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like,
Um,
people talk about the forest lights after encounters.
I have heard that a lot.
Uh, I
Experienced my own.
I read a 3-minute, 31-second video of one that followed my wife and I around
Really.
our spot in North Carolina,
That was
which
a
I will.
video you sent me.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yes.
Did you see what it did when she communicated with it? How
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just, I have no explanation for that, and that kind
Right.
of bugs me.
Yeah.
What was it? What is that?
The
You
orb
know,
situation is kind of the most to me it's frustrating because it's like
it is
I haven't solved this mystery yet and now this is coming at me and they seem to be linked sometimes.
exactly, and
It's
then
frustrating.
it is frustrating. I'm nowhere near close to this, like you said, the Bigfoot thing yet, getting that down, and now I'm getting all these other cryptids and everything else thrown at me, and
And
like, it,
so on that note, what other cryptids are you researching or have you experienced that?
my wife and I like to and guys, we get into Thunderbird a little bit
Okay, yeah.
because of kind of an experience my wife and I had in North Carolina. Granted, it was a little bit. And and here's the thing. Hey, Mike. Here's the thing. All these things are happening. All these different phenomena are happening. Seem to be in these certain areas.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it does seem that
No,
way. So,
I noticed that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of infamous all over.
it is. It is here, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. So I mean, it was my wife, my stepdaughter, and a good friend of hers. So anyway, we were walking down the trail,
Yes.
and we got to the bridge would have been,
Right.
and I said I feel kind of strange. I'm gonna kind of take a knee, and we all kind of sat down. We all felt kind of weird, and all of a sudden, something caused us to all look up, and we see this big bird flying over the top of us, and this is no lie, and I said it on all the other shows I've been on. You'll hear the same thing. If I would to say that it had a 15-foot wingspan, I'd probably be under exaggerating. I'd probably be wrong.
Right.
And one of my partners on one of the shows has seen one as well.
I had a listener send one in for me. He saw it when he was younger, and it was in Arkansas,
Okay.
and it was huge. He said it was raptor-like, absolutely terrifying.
Unbelievable. This one was more, if I can, maybe condor, hawkish condor type. But I've heard of people seeing like the pterosaur type.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
this one wasn't a pterosaur. He said it reminded him of a raptor. So like
really
a hawk. He said it was
interesting.
condor would be, I guess, the word, but it absolutely terrified him.
Yeah. See,
And
I didn't get any bad vibes from this whatsoever. It was like it just wanted to do its own thing and skedaddle. And then I think it flapped its wings once, if I'm not mistaken, and then just. And
so
then
did it land at any point that you saw, or it was
not
just
that we saw. Not that we saw. No.
Did you feel any air pressure off the wings or anything like that? I mean,
No.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that would be
No. But you could hear when it let them go. You could hear the
man.
and it was incredible. I mean, I never. I mean, God, and here I am trying to research Bigfoot, and I see
Yeah.
this thing. I mean, my God, be nice, please,
Yeah. It's just like we said earlier, humans do not look up near enough.
No.
We don't look up enough.
Uh-uh.
And I mean, those deer, who's to say that's not what did it? Or something like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. It absolutely is. It's very terrifying. We do not look up enough. And I think we get so caught up on what we're seeing on the ground, with structures and whatever footprints that we don't take a moment to just take a peek. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've actually started doing that when I research, and I
Good.
actually saw something
Oh wow.
in a tree that was huge. Don't know what it was. Couldn't tell from the signature. I just know that it was big. And I was watching it, and then all of a sudden, something hit in the woods next to me, and Stephen Hill was with me, hit in the woods next to us. And I, of course, human reaction, I kind of jumped and looked around, and then when I put the thermal back on it, whatever it was gone.
Gone.
I mean, and I've had that happen a lot. They're masters of distraction, but
Absolutely.
I don't know why. I think Steven and I might have been talking about it, and we just had this urge, like, we need to look up,
Yeah.
and we did, and it was it was very interesting, and I think it's scary. Like, if you think about how often people just walk through the woods, just
It is.
willy-nilly.
It is. I was doing a Facebook Live session one night, and Travis Bowen and Justin Decker and I were the only ones left on. And Travis goes, "Jay, you gotta get out. Why don't you get out of there right now?" And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Dude," he's like, "that big one, those 15-inch tracks you found, those fresh ones a little while ago. Well, I think he just peeked behind the tree at you. Travis saw the full. They're kind of. He stuck his whole, stuck his whole head out." And I said, "Okay, I take Travis. You say to get out of here, I'm gonna get out of here."
Mm-hmm.
And it is. It's scary.
It's almost scarier than it happening to you as someone else watching and being like,
It did. It freaked me out. Not 90% of the time, I think they just want to mind their own business. But I'm not going to sit here and lie when I say two of the groups I deal with here. This one on my property is very benign.
Mm-hmm.
They're very. They'd never given me a problem except for once, and that's when they were hunting, and they politely escorted me back to my house. But politely. But I'd be lying if I wasn't saying that two of these groups that I research here are not they can get a little temperamental. With the boulders and
They're more aggressive.
Yes, much more.
So what kind of aggression have you experienced over the years? Like boulders, you said, tree pushing.
Boulders, tree pushing. Actually, you're gonna find this interesting. I brought a buddy down to the spring one night. He wanted to have an experience, and if you're listening, Steve, I'm sorry, but I have to tell the story. He likes to have a few every now and then, which is fine, So whatever, it's his business. But I told him, I said, please don't bring a long gun. Do not bring a long gun. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
So I'm getting our tent ready, and I look, and he's pulling a Mossberg Tactical out of his bag. I said, what is that? Well, I just figured I'd bring it. I thought you were joking. You thought I was joking.
What was my one rule?
What was my one rule? And then I feel a blast of wind go by my face. He had let a round go. And I said, are you kidding me? And here I'm shaking. He had let a buckshot go. And I said, why would you do that? Well, I wanted to see if it was loaded. Needless to say, he never came out in the woods with me again. Now, just at that second, Lauren, I'm not going to say a stick, a twig, or whatever. This was a log. A 5-foot log came from 80 feet across the pond and landed 5 feet in front of his right at his feet. Right there. Like almost telling him, bad move. You do it again and we're going to have other problems.
Yeah.
Like almost like they were kind of sticking up for me. Looking out for me.
Yeah, or they just.
Or just they just thought it was stupid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
yeah.
I had as far as scary experiences, I was in North Carolina. I was by myself. Do as I say, not as I do. But
you say that an awful lot, Jeremiah.
I know I do. I get hacked for it too. I'm sitting on the bank of the river, just waiting for it to get a little darker. And I was actually on the phone with one of the guys. I forget who it was. My Might have been Israel. I'm not sure. But anyway, we were talking. We were going through my checklist together, and he's making sure I had everything I needed. So, all of a sudden, boulder comes, poof, bang, lands right there, right in front of me, and then from behind me comes another one almost immediately, lands in just about the same spot, bang, and then one from the side comes, hits the same spot. And I said, dude, did you just witness that? He said, yeah, I caught some of it. Probably not a good night to go out. I'd say probably not. They're telling me that they're probably a hunt or something tonight,
All I can picture is like Bigfoot cornhole, like they're playing. I don't know if that's what it's called where you're from, but yeah, Bigfoot cornhole is what they're doing. They're like, see if you can get it close and knock the other one in.
Knock the other one in, right? Yeah.
The human is the hole.
And they're good at it. They're very proficient, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, that would definitely be a sign to. All right, let's
skedaddle.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I was gone.
Someone said they're playing whack-a-mole. That's
close.
close.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. Yeah, but I don't regret any of it.
Yeah.
I don't. It's scary. Some of these experiences where I don't regret any of it. No way.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that I say about Bigfoot researchers is it's the adrenaline rush sometimes.
Whew.
And we crave it. It's like you'll be doing it and you'll leave and you're kicking yourself you didn't stay.
Yes.
You're kicking yourself you didn't go investigate,
Yeah.
And you get back out there and you do it again, even if you were absolutely terrified.
Yes. Yep. I agree. That's one thing we all share. We all have that in common. Yep.
Yeah. To be a Bigfoot researcher, you have to be crazy.
Yeah, you gotta be. We're all nuts. Yeah, you gotta be crazy. For sure.
It's just the truth.
It is.
It's so sad. So if you could research with anyone, past, living, who would they be and why?
Bob Titmus.
Really? That's the second time I've had that one.
Yeah. Titmus, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my number one right there, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My opinion, I think he was probably one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
I granted technology's changed over the years, but when it came down right to investigating, he was probably the man,
Okay.
Yeah.
I had somebody in here, they were talking about they enjoy your snow tracking videos. He said your live snow tracking videos.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So you have a lot of fans in the chat. So I know that you post a lot, and I follow a lot of it as well because
yes, I noticed that. Thank you.
Yeah, you are out there. You're doing it. You're doing the things. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for bringing as much as you can to us, and thank you for your great attitude about it and being open-minded and everything. I want you. I'm gonna go ahead and end the show here in a minute.
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
I want you to go ahead and shout out all your projects and everything, and that's why I'm giving. Yeah, because you have quite a few. It might take the next 15 minutes.
Yeah. That's fine.
You guys, Jeremiah has a lot of great stuff coming up. I mean, I'm really excited about his stuff. So, I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right. So right now we've got our show On the Trail in Search of Living Legends. That is myself, Gary Spikes, Nate Rudd, and Sean Wilson. Now on that show, we interview people that have had encounters with different cryptids. We even get into a little bit of the paranormal on that show, and that seems to be the favorite out of the bunch right now. We have our other show, the Skookum Session Roundtable. Just me, Gary. I'm gonna probably lose this bunch because there's a lot of us. Me, Gary, Travis Bowen, the Rudds, Israel, Sean. I said Gary, right?
Yeah.
I,
There's a lot.
I'm sorry if I missed any of you guys.
It's
You know, I love you. That is our show where we it's more of like a Bigfoot investigation show.
Okay.
You know, we go out, we show the do's and don'ts.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of deal. And that's the show where you were talking about a lot of experience together. That's a really good one. Oh, J.R. Kitchen is the other one I forgot to mention. Anyway, and Gary and I are we have a date set, and it's called Bigfoot Tribal Tribute. So that will be coming out very, very shortly.
That's exciting. What can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure.
Or is it...
Yeah, absolutely. Gary has a little bit of Native in him, as what my grandmother was full blooded. So, I always have respected, my ancestors and what they have thought, and they have been right on about these things.
Absolutely.
And you can't ignore that.
You can't. That's my favorite thing about talking to skeptics is I tell them that throughout history there have been hairy wildman sightings in the news, but also through Native American lore, this is a prevalent thing.
Absolutely, especially two tribes that are 3,000 miles apart, and they're talking about the same creature.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that sounds like a really interesting show, and
it's going to be awesome. And
I can't wait for y'all to get into it.
It's going to be awesome. That one is just Gary and I. And then we're going to be doing a little project once a month, just probably once a month with Nick Valente. It'll be a Dogman night.
Okay.
So that should be pretty. We got to talk about that more tomorrow, but I'll give you the.
You guys,
the heads up.
You have your fingers in a lot of pies.
Yes, I do.
You got a lot going on.
I do.
To me, that says that you're very passionate about this, and that you're coming at it from all different aspects. You're covering cryptids, you're covering the Bigfoot, tribal, thing. You're covering the investigation piece, the Cryptid investigation podcast.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? It's Cryptid investigation.
I forgot to mention that one. My God, I got somebody going. This is the CIS, Cryptid Investigation Society.
Yeah.
That was Israel's idea. Actually, he's the lead man on that show, being what he does for a living. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We've got to work on that some more too. Put some more episodes out. It's been a while.
Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Thank you for sharing everything that you did. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Excellent guest. I think that you have integrity, and I love how honest you were, even about things that most people really probably wouldn't admit to. So I appreciate that from you. I appreciate your honesty. That goes a long way towards the credibility of your stories. The validity.
Right.
And thank you for all of your time that you put into the podcast, because to me that educates people on this.
That's the reason I do it.
Yeah, and not to mention all the stuff you post, all the evidence you post, because you guys, I'm just gonna say it takes balls to post evidence nowadays.
It does.
It takes balls.
It does, because they get ripped apart.
People are not nice. So thank you for keeping on. I appreciate it. I know everyone in the chat appreciates it too. So thank you so much. And
yes, and thank you everybody for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so we'll have to have you back on after you've done your Bigfoot show or the tribal. I'm sorry, I keep saying Bigfoot show, like that's not all of them. The tribal show with Gary. We'll have to have you back on after a little bit.
Yes, that'll be a good one. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to come on. I could have kept talking all night. So
okay, all right. Well, I appreciate
whenever you want, you just let me know.
That sounds great. All right, thank you so much, Jeremiah.
Okay, Lauren, thank you.
Okay. All right, good night.
Night.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you for your support on Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. I want to thank you all especially for being so wonderful in my chat rooms. I have a team of moderators who help me in the chat, and you guys spoiled him. And keep on doing that, please. You guys are wonderful. You show respect to my guest. You aren't hateful. Really appreciate that. And you guys ask really great questions. So I want to thank you guys for helping me interview the guest whenever we're live. Um, if you did not get to join in the live chat, feel free to drop a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps me get more shows to you. And I wanted to give a special shout out to the affiliates of Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. Go check out their sites and their projects and give them a listen and a like. They are all awesome. So we have Bigfoot Society podcast. That's Jerimiah Byron, a different Jeremiah, and he is doing big things. He has great guests on and he covers an entire range of topics. You guys go check him out. Bipolar Teddy Bear Network. This is a group of 4 guys that does paranormal shows. They've actually had me on their show. They've had an associate of mine on the show from Weird Realities. You guys, they have a really great thing going, and they have great camaraderie as well. Bigfoot Crossroads with Matt Knapp. He is going to be relaunching his show soon, so make sure you go like and subscribe so that you don't miss his new stuff. Weird Realities podcast. So this is a production of Night Callers, and they talk about all things weird, science, just all kinds of weird things. And they have the 2 hosts on that are great ladies. They're very smart, and they bring it to you in a way that you can understand it, and it's really enjoyable content. Also, there's Weird Realities Inc. with James Irby and Hadley, and they talk to authors of weird topics. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that, because if you are listening to this show, you're likely weird like the rest of us, and they talk to a lot of weird authors that you might want to read. We have Beaverhook Productions, which is Logan Kraft, and he puts out great videos, you guys, so you can go check out all of his works, and Bigfoot Club with Bob Dominguez and his wonderful team. So if you're interested in becoming a Night Callers Bigfoot Radio affiliate, where basically I promote you on my show. So across all my platforms, on my show, everything like that. So if you're interested in that, go check out nightcallersproductions.com and you can see what it's all about. So that's it. That's all I got. Stay safe, be kind, and I'll see y'all next